Okay, now I'm bringing you in a bit earlier on this video than I normally would do because I think there's some interest to be had in getting the thing out of the box. I haven't opened it yet and I'm not exactly sure what I've bought. It's been imported from Japan, from the Yahoo auctions, and the description there was very, very vague. The photos were poor quality, and overall I didn't have much to go on, but it just looked intriguing. Now, it's some kind of electronic gambling poker type machine. Now, I've been looking for something along these lines for a while, a kind of tabletop device, bar top, I suppose they would be. But you'll know, perhaps from the past videos, I've got an interest in gambling machines. I've got a proper one-arm bandit, a pachinko, I did have a couple of pashy slots, I've got an all-win, a variety of these kind of gambling type machines. And it was just an area that I was intrigued to pick something up in. So, looking at the pictures, I thought this one looks particularly small. I wasn't too sure if it had a CRT in it, a colour CRT, or if it was some kind of flat screen thing. It said it was from 91, so kind of borderline. Anyway, the box turned up today, and this is where I got surprised, because this is the box. I mean, I really was not expecting something. There'll be plenty of packing in there as well. So I was kind of expecting something like bulky. Not ridiculous, but kind of just a bit smaller than a bar top thing. Well, it doesn't weigh much, and it's quite small, and it kind of looks like, on the pictures, some kind of like it has interchangeable components. So you could be a poker machine, or it could be a blackjack machine or something, but it only had the one kind of part to it. So I think it'd just be interesting to have a look at this. So let's get it out of the box and see exactly what it is that I bought. Now, when it comes to Japanese consoles, the vast majority of them have been covered quite comprehensively on the internet, even the rare ones. I mean, if it was something like a Casio Loopy or something, you'll find plenty of videos about it from people in the West who've discovered this thing and wanted to show it off. This thing, I found absolutely nothing whatsoever about. It's perhaps I'll find more about it once I get in here. So, yeah, that's it. Picking up with one hand, and that's all there is there. So I'm kind of hoping I haven't just bought like an accessory for something else. Right. Well, that's what I was expecting. That's kind of what the picture looked like, but due to the depth of this, it looked almost like it was a CRT. I can see now. That's just a flat screen, of course, in there. And I think there's some keys in here. Look at this. 3 different sets of keys. Right, so let's just have a look. We've got our key slot there. Are these buttons? No, seem to just be things to hold it on that side. DC in, headphones, volume control, some kind of box at the back there with a couple of connectors on. Wow, 3 keyholes on it. What a weird thing. Right, so here's your branding. J.Cock. Yeah, I don't know if I want to search for that online. New Wave. Yeah, search for New Wave J.Cock. Okay, so it's it's the J.Cock Z400S. Let's just check. The power's on there, so let me plug this in. And the screen's on, and nothing's happening. Oh, this is the instruction booklet. It's just printed out the individual pages. Right, so there's the screen. Oh, there seem to be sort of buttons there. Is there anything? Can you? Let's just turn it off again. Right. So what's all this? What's going on in here? That goes up. This is a very bizarre object. And there's our Poker Wave cartridge. J.Cock P777, 1991 by J.Cock Co. Limited. And it just goes into that at the back. There's nothing else to see in here, so that goes in there. Is that an on-off switch there? Let's plug it in and see what happens. Right, so let's move this to the left. That's the on-off switch, because you can see the screen comes on. Let's press the first one. second, third, fourth. Right, now turn it the other way. Yeah, I can't open that now. Oh, I think what goes in the back is a battery pack. Yeah, that's a battery pack, and that's what goes in the back of there, so we could run it off a battery. Right, reading through that, it seems like it might need the battery pack for it to work, and that makes me think that maybe the people sending this over have taken out the battery pack, and therefore that's why nothing's happening. I'd just about given up on it, and I've shoved this thing all the way in, switched it on, and it's come on there, so let's hope it's not going to go off again. At least we know it works, and it works without the battery. So I can bet 10. Start. Yes! Oh, Jack, Queen, King, we'll have that. Now, I'm sure most people watching this are familiar with arcade poker style machines, but I'll just show you the controls down here. So across the middle row, cancel, self-explanatory. Start is also the deal button, and then bet. You keep pressing that to incrementally increase the amount you're going to bet on that particular hand. So once you've got your bet set, you deal your hand, you can then choose to hold any of the 5 cards, and then you deal again. And then if you've won off that one, you can just take the winnings here and they'll go into your credits, or you can choose to bet them again. If you press that, you then get into a higher or lower game, and you choose the higher or lower or big or small cards here. And you can just keep playing that higher and lower game until eventually you either lose your money or you lose your nerve and you take your score and it goes into your credits. Oh, I got a straight. Brilliant. Let's take that. Now this is effectively just a normal arcade poker machine, albeit one that's been shrunken down into this small case. You'll notice on the screen here, it's even saying to insert coin. So I'm sure it's using the same ROMs that would have been present in a proper arcade machine. But of course on this one, there's no way to physically add currency into this small box. So the way that you add in credits here, well, you access this panel on the front, and behind there, you'll see that there are some buttons, and there's one for notes and one for coins. Now normally this would be secured and locked on the bottom, so you wouldn't be able to access that easily. Now the previous owner of this particular machine must have got fed up with trying to reach in here to increase his credits, so he's wired something into the key slot here so that every time you turn that, it adds 100 credits into the bank. So just have a look at the top there. There we go, 100. And you can just keep doing that. Okay, so I can bet up to 100 on each hand. At the moment it's set to 0. Every time I press the bet button, that increases by 1. It does remember the previous bet that you've set, so you can just repeat that for each round. You don't have to increase this each time. So we'll set it up to 25. Of course you can restart back at 1 again if you want, but we'll start with 25 bet on this first hand. Right, now that's pretty good. We've got a pair of queens, so we're already winning this one here, which is flashing. Jack's all better. Now that just pays you back what you put in. You can see 25 hopefully there. But if we just hold the queens, and I think we'll just stick with those, and let's press start again. 3 queens, so that's 75. Now at this point, it says double up, bet, or take score. So I'm going to go for the double up. And this gets us into this higher or lower game. So if the card is 8 or more, I'll win if I push big, or 6 or less, I'll win if I push small. I think 7, I think it just gives you your money back. So let's go for the, let's go higher. And we lost. Okay, so that was the end of that one. Let's start again. Okay, Jack, Queen. Right, let's try this again now then. So let's go for the double up. And let's say it's going to be small this time. Right, so now you can see we've got up to 50 there, so we've doubled up our 25 return. Let's go again, let's go for high. And we got a 4 again, so I've lost the money. I'll hold the queen and the ace. Let's go for the gamble. Let's do it again. Right, so we've got 100 out of that one now. Should we do it again? Right. Let's go for high. Oh, bum. Now you'll notice I'm winning quite a lot on this jacks or better, and I'm getting the return back 25 for the amount I've put on here with that pair of aces there. Now you'll also notice that that line, it seems quite low on the display there. It's almost like it shouldn't be there, if you know what I mean. Normally you'd separate your win chart out from your cards a bit better than that. It's very kind on the player because you get your money back very easily, but I don't think the game's really supposed to be played that way. And in fact, that is one of the things that you can alter on the dip switches on the bottom. The dip switches that I want to access are behind this panel, and this is locked. It's secured again with this key. If I just turn that, you'll see it drops down, and now I can remove it. And that's where the lock went through to hold that in place. But now we've got access to this. You can see we've got 3 banks of 8 dip switches, and the previous owner included the sheet, which is the key to what each of these does. And there are things such as increasing the maximum amount of bets. Well, it's already at 100, but you can select lower amounts and various different things like that. But number 6 on the second bank here, that's the payout for a single pair of jacks or above. Now if we look at that bank there, that's the only one that's on the right, so we'll just move it to the left, and that means that that feature's now been disabled. Right, so I'll start a game, put 100 credits in, and start, and notice the single pair option has now disappeared from the bottom. We'll just take a quick look at the specs, courtesy of this photocopied manual. Notice again there at the bottom right, we've got the date of 1991. And the specs page, if we stick that into Google Translate, well, we can see that the screen is an LCD, 4 inches across, TFT display, resolution of 479 by 234. And then towards the bottom, you can see other things such as the power requirements, the operating temperature, the dimensions, and the weight. Now, I'd imagine there are some people who wanted to take a look inside, so this section's for them. Rather obviously, the bottom cover can't just be removed by taking out the screws. You have to also undo the various locks. We'll flip this circuit board over in a minute, see if we can spot any chips on the other side. One thing I should say, the cartridge, that's been plastic welded together. There are no screws in there, so that's not something I can open up today. But let's take these screws out and have a look. Oh, one other thing. Stereo speakers here, or at least 2 speakers, pointing this way into the case, but it does seem a little bit overkill given the quality of the audio that we were listening to before. But maybe this thing's got quite a bit more capabilities than we heard. It could be that it would be able to play some reasonable sounds with the appropriate cartridge inserted. Okay, let's see if this slides out. Now, to get this board out completely, I'd have to remove all these wires, and I don't think it's necessary because we can see everything that there is on here, or at least everything we're allowed to see, because you'll notice they put stickers over the tops of these chips. And if you were to remove those stickers, you wouldn't see any more, because if you look to the sides of them, you can see they've scraped off the details from the top of the chips as well. So the ones that remain, the ones that I can see here, they're all dated from 1989. And you can see there we've got a battery backup which will store the details of our credits. But yeah, that's pretty much all I've got to show you there, so I'll just pop it back together again. Now, I'm sure to the vast majority of people, the game that this thing plays would not be the most enthralling thing. And I'll put myself in that category as well. I'm more interested in the machine itself because it's such an intriguing object. You might not have noticed why that would be, but the keys kind of give this away. This is clearly not a device for the home. This is a proper gambling device. Yes, it doesn't take money physically and pay it out, but there are ways around that. And the fact that everything is locked away that would enable you to con this device or fiddle it or do anything like that shows that this is something that was intended for proper gambling. The normal person wouldn't be able to get into here to access the credit button. And indeed, they wouldn't be able to access the button that pays out the credits at the end. There's no way to adjust these amounts other than by gambling normally. But at the end, you can get your credits paid back if you open this up and press this button here. Look at the top left there. Those are the credits going down to 0. So the only people that would be able to get into here would be the people with the keys. And the same goes for the dip switch on the bottom. So let me explain how I think this was designed to be used. Okay, so imagine I've got a karaoke bar, for example. We've got all these different rooms that people can go off into. And to gain some additional income, on the front counter here, I've got a series of these things sat charging up. Whenever anyone wants to borrow one, I'll say, oh, give me 1,000 yen. I open this part here, put their 1,000 yen into the device, lock it all up. They've got the credit on there, give it to them, and whilst their friends are singing away in the room or whatever, they can have a bit of a gamble as well. At the end of the night, they come back, give me the machine, I look how much they've won or lost on this, pay them out the cash, reset the machine, stick it back on charge again. Seems like a brilliant line of business. Now, of course, this is just conjecture. I'm making the whole thing up, but it looks like that's what this was used for. I mean, maybe not the karaoke bar. I'm not too sure of the exact location, but you know, with all the keys and things and everything being locked away on this, there really is no way to fiddle this without breaking it open. So you can use it as a proper gambling device. It's just the cash part of the transaction has to take place elsewhere. But there's another thing I want to say about this. Let me just unplug it. This is a handheld games console from 1991 with a colour screen. And when you think of how many of those were around, it wasn't that many. There was the Atari Lynx, there was the Sega Game Gear, the, what was it, Turbo Express. I think that was round about all of them. Well, it was all of them until this. And when you might be thinking, well, hold on a minute, that's not a rechargeable, portable, colour screen games console with interchangeable games. And then you go, hold on a minute, yes it is. Of course, this one doesn't have the batteries with it. Apparently they came with 2 batteries. There are some new ones that I've seen on the auction, some photos, and they would have had the batteries in there as well. Once you get into this and open it up, obviously once you've got the key, you can get into this section here and you can remove the game cartridge. And this is the Poker Wave one. Of course, there should be others in this range. I have never seen one, but you could imagine there'd be perhaps a blackjack one of these, maybe Keno, I don't know, other kind of casino type games that would go in this machine. But yeah, I mean, it might also be the first rechargeable colour screen handheld games console. I say handheld, well, you can hold it in your hands, can't you? I mean, the other ones all ran on AA's at that time. This one did have a proper rechargeable battery pack in here. It'd be like a big NiCad or something, kind of thing that you might have on a camcorder or something. But yeah, it's a colour games console from 1991 that nobody really knew about because it only played one game, probably. But I'm very happy that it was working in the end. I was a bit worried to start with that we weren't going to get there. But yeah, there you go. So that is, if I could have get that cartridge in there right, that is Poker Wave, or I should call it the J.Cock Z400S. So yeah, there's another games console for you from the early 90s. If anyone says, oh, what's the most obscure colour handheld, portable, rechargeable games console that you can remember from 1991? The answer is the J.Cock Z400S. And you can blow your friends' minds who thought they knew everything about games consoles. So there you go. Just thought you might want to see that. You might not, but it's a bit late now because the video has been made and you should have bailed a bit earlier than this bit. Oh, and I forgot one thing I want to mention. Yeah, new merchandise. Some people have asked for this, so there you go, whole new range of it. Click through the link in the video description. But that is it for the moment. As always, thanks for watching.